It was a busy afternoon in Washington, the hum of traffic and distant sirens blending with the chatter of pedestrians. At a sunlit patio, a small group of friends gathered over lunch.
Watching a team not get scored while in the red zone is like watching a bad power play in hockey. It is torture to watch.
It's so hard because there is way less room for the players to get open.
Even for the running back is difficult.
What a team should do, if they are on the one goal line and have trouble getting it in, is get like a big strong man to pick up the running back and just fucking chuck him in the end zone for a touchdown. Like throw him over the D-line.
I'll tell you what, if the Commanders don't fix their offense this year, they might have to consider that play.
Man, the Commanders don't have an offense. Their best offensive player is their defensive linebacker. Their defense is literally better offensively than their offense.
If the Commanders were a baseball team, their players would somehow get more runs while playing outfield than when they would batting.
We will not stop. We will never give up. The leaders will rather us starve if it means their lives are a little more convenient. They rather us get sick rather than lose a little money. They would rather us die if it means they don't have to work. So if we're going to die, we might as well die with a message.
What the hell is that?
Oh, just these protesters. We've seen them here a few times.
The fuck is their problem?
I don't know, they must be Commanders fans.
Shit. If they're protesting the Commanders' management, I might join them.
We will not die like the dogs that they treat us like. We will...
What are they protesting?
What do you think? The country has turned to shit by some spoiled leaders who only care for their pockets. Same old shit as it's always been.
Damn, are the leaders the owner of the Commanders?
That joke was only funny a minute ago, Matt.
They're still young. They'll get used to it. So, what are you guys...
The crowd erupted into chaos, feet pounding against the pavement as people sprinted away from the protesters.
What the hell is going on?
Where is everyone going? What is everyone running from?
The men weaved their way through the crowds of people running in their direction. Once they made their way through the crowd, they were shocked. The protester was on fire. They looked around. Another protester on fire, while another was pouring himself with gasoline and about to do the same. A man grabbed the microphone and started screaming towards the Capitol building.
Soon it will be your turn. Soon it will be your turn.
Jim was sitting in his office watching the TV.
Come in.
Jimmy, did you see the news?
I did.
Are you concerned at all?
Well, obviously I'm concerned, Steve. Citizens are lighting themselves on fire in protest of people like myself.
Jimmy, out of all the billionaires, you have given the most to the less fortunate than anybody. You don't have to feel guilty about anything.
It's not that I feel guilty.
Are you afraid you got bodyguards?
It's not that I'm guilty, nor is it because I'm afraid. It's that I actually agree with these protesters.
Jimmy, if you actually agree with them, then why don't you just give them all your money?
Because it doesn't work. If rich people had to give all their money to the poor, then innovation will die, ambition will die, jobs will be scarce. People need to be rewarded for hard work. If there is no limit to how hard you work or how smart you are or your discipline, then there shouldn't be a limit to how much you get rewarded for that.
Okay, so what's the big deal? It sounds like at first you're a socialist and now you're a capitalist.
Well, I made my wealth through capitalism, no doubt. But we don't live in a capitalist society anymore. We live in a capitalist extremist society. When this country was at its peak, a milkman made enough money to have a house with a wife that didn't work and kids that went to school, and he took care of everything by doing a job that would barely buy you a bus pass today. It has to change somehow. Throwing a bunch of money at it doesn't change anything. If water is leaking from a bucket, you don't keep filling the bucket with water, you fix the hole.
Jimmy, you may be rich, but there is only so much you can do. The system is built and you just have to let the cards fall where they may.
Alex was tired. He's worked all day long for years now, but somehow his body wasn't used to it. He returned home after a long day's work and was greeted from his mother.
I don't think it's normal for a human to be working as hard as you do, Alex.
We gotta pay that rent somehow.
How was school?
It was okay. I told the teacher I had to leave early to go to work. She's aware of our situation, so she was fine with it.
She's aware of the situation because she's in the same situation herself. I'm surprised she doesn't leave school early, too.
Was your day okay?
Not really. I tried to get workers' comp but couldn't.
Those bastards?
I can't blame them, Alex. They don't have a lot of money to spend. They're struggling to keep their heads above water. I'm just happy they haven't fired me yet.
Alex looked out the window.
Another self-immolation?
I don't think so. The police were headed towards the inner city. Probably another murder, more like.
They might as well live at that side of town.
Sooner or later, this whole city will be like that part of town. Or the whole country. Makes sense. The cities make up the countries, and when the project spread throughout the whole city and takes it over, well then the whole country is just a wasteland full of crime, drugs, and vacant buildings.
I don't think the people will let it go that far.
Will you?
Alex, as long as you have food to eat and a roof above your head. That's all I care about. Anything less than that, and I'd be lighting that White House on fire.
Alex's mom rubbed her son's head.
Have a good sleep. You're needed tomorrow.
The newsroom was frantic. Reporters were scattering around the office trying to learn more about the recent events. Megan was on the phone.
Listen, can you speak a little louder? I can't hear.
Megan,
Yeah?
my office. Hurry up.
I'm sorry I have to leave. I'll call you back soon.
Megan entered her boss's office.
What the hell is this?
Her boss slapped down an article on his desk.
You really expect me to say this?
Bill, it's the story. These are the reports from the witnesses.
And what's this part right here? That says, Mark continued by stating, all this is proving is that once again, the leaders who were chosen to serve this country would rather let our citizens self-immolate than preventing the oppression of the less fortunate within the country and abroad.
The witnesses all voiced their concerns about the current government. Some of these aren't even witnesses. These are just random people that we stopped by on the street. I didn't get any of these from the Monkey King protesters.
Well, I hope you didn't, because if you got in contact with members of the Monkey King, you should be pointing a gun at them rather than a microphone. They think they can light people on fire to protest outside our government buildings. They don't deserve our attention.
Bill, our job is to report the news. We are supposed to get all sides of the story without making any biased remarks or judgments. We state the facts and let the readers decide for themselves.
Megan, what industry do you think we're in? Seriously, what industry do you think we're in?
The news?
No. We are in the entertainment industry. When you go to the movies and watch Lord of the Rings, do they get both sides of the story and let the audience decide who's bad? When you watch Jaws, do they have the fucking shark sit in a chair telling the audience his side of the story? Let me answer that for you. No.
But
You know why? Because it's fucking boring. People don't pay money for the movies to be informed, they go to be entertained. And the best way to entertain people is to have a good guy and a bad guy. That way, the audience get emotionally invested because they want the good guy to win and the bad guy to lose. So let me inform you, we are the screenwriters, and in this story, the Monkey King protesters are the bad guy, and the people we work for are the good guys. You understand?
yes.
Good.
Megan left Bill's office feeling discouraged.
You all right?
What's the point of me being here if they're not going to let me write the truth? He would rather me write a story about the earth being flat if it meant it got more views. The news has become a joke. No wonder we are failing.
The world is changing, Megan. We got to adapt or we'll be left behind.
I don't think the world is changing. I just think we changed and just blame the world.
What hasn't changed is the fact that you need a job in this climate. I would advise you to just swallow your pride and do what they ask.
I guess you're right.
Jim went to the Capitol building to see a friend of his.
Jimmy, you're back again.
Hey, Dan, how's the kids?
They're not bad. Who am I kidding? They are bad. Having kids definitely can make you love coming to work a lot more.
I hear you. Dan, I'm just going to get right to it. You need to convince your boss to talk with the Monkey King group.
What?
You have to work out a deal. The Monkey King is growing into an army. They are burning themselves alive in front of government buildings.
You think we give a shit?
No, which is exactly why I'm here. You have to do something before they actually become what we've been telling the public.
That they're a terrorist group?
Yeah.
Well, they are a terrorist group.
Dan, how many citizens have they killed? None, other than themselves. Now, maybe the leader of that group is somehow brainwashing his followers to burn themselves, but eventually they'll realize that it won't work, and then they'll actually become a terrorist group. It'll be like the Black Panthers all over again.
Yeah, and we put them all behind bars.
Dan, if you treat a group like they're villains, eventually they will become the villains. You want to create a monster, just treat someone like a monster. You want to prevent another domestic terrorist group? Maybe just sit and talk to them.
Jimmy, if you want to portray yourself as a philosopher, then be a teacher. Otherwise, just mind your own fucking business.
Hey, my life might be on the line here too. The Monkey King have been heard chanting death to the establishment that includes billionaires like myself.
Well, why don't you pay them not to harm you? Considering how much you love being a socialist with your money, giving it away to these lazy pricks who don't want to work.
I just give it to the ones who can't. And if you want to go down that alley, I have given much of my money away to the less fortunate and nothing has changed. Not because they're lazy or stupid, it's because the system that we are running is broken and nobody wants to fix it.
Jimmy, how many years have you spent as a politician again?
0.
Exactly. Now I got work to do today, so I'll see you around.
Megan was sitting at her desk. She had writer's block. Not because she didn't know what to write, but because she had to write something that she didn't want to. Megan stood up from her desk.
Where are you heading to, Meg?
I'm just heading out. Tell Bill I'm heading to the street to look for better testimonies.
Meg, are you talking about the self-immolations? He's making that report today. I don't think you have time to get any more testimonies.
Well, I gotta do something.
Yeah, but you don't have time, so just make it up.
What?
Leave it anonymous. No reader's going to question it.
Is that what you do, Nick? Just make up stories when it sees fit?
Megan, do I have to remind you what industry you're in?
Okay, fine, but I need you to do it for me.
Meg, I got my own schedule.
Listen, I'll give you credit for it. You can tell Bill you did it all.
Meg, he's going to be pissed at you. He might fire you for this.
Tell him I am working on a bigger story. Tell him it's a really entertaining one.
Meg grabbed her coat and exited the office building. The cafeteria buzzed with chatter, trays clattering as students weaved between tables. Alex navigated through the crowded cafeteria and finally reached his friends, dropping into his usual seat at the table.
Man, Mrs. Blosky is so hot.
Yeah, she's my afternoon class.
You got Mrs. Blosky? Damn, you lucky bastard.
I just have her as a teacher. I'm not screwing her or anything.
Yeah, but having her as a teacher gives you more time to get a good look.
When I'm in class, I don't spend the whole time staring at my teacher.
Why? You don't like staring at women?
Do you like staring at guys instead?
No, I didn't mean it like that.
Yeah, you just said you get turned on by guys.
Brett, you wish I was turned on by guys? That way you wouldn't have to worry about me slamming your mom all the time.
So what are you guys doing after school?
I don't know. I don't really got much else going on.
Let's go to my place. Hang out, play some vids.
I'll give Brittany a call. Maybe she can bring a couple of her friends over as well.
Hell yeah.
Alex, you coming?
No, I can't. I gotta work again.
You're always working, man. Don't you remember you're only 16?
Yeah, well, I also remember I don't want to be asking you all for change at the bus stop on your way to school either.
What is this? 2 straight weeks you've been working nonstop.
Man, with that schedule, how do you even manage to screw Brett's mom so much?
Hey, you son of a bitch.
All right, I gotta head to calculus.
Alex entered the classroom early and approached his teacher, who was working quietly at her desk.
Here's my homework, Miss Blosky.
Thank you, Alex. By the way, excellent work on the last exam.
Did I do okay?
Well, let's just say you couldn't have done better.
Thank you, Miss Blosky.
The rest of the students began pouring into the classroom.
Okay, class. We got a lot of work to do today, but before we get started, I'm going to give everyone back their test results.
Mrs. B, who gives a shit about the test results?
Jordan, please no profanity in the class.
Yeah, whatever.
So does anybody remember where we left off yesterday? Sheila, do you want...
Yeah, what's up? Nothing. I'm just in class right now. Yeah, I know about the party later on. Don't worry, I'll be there. Yeah, I'm just working.
Jordan, tell whoever you're talking to that you're in class and that you'll talk to him later.
All right, I'll see you later. I gotta go.
Thank you. Anyway, as I was saying... Thank you. Anyway, as I was saying...
Megan wandered down a quiet street. It was in a very poor neighborhood with lots of boarded-up windows and trash on the sidewalk. She came across her desired location of a small house and knocked on the front door. A middle-aged woman answered.
Hello, miss. My name is Megan Ramoni. I am reporter for The Bill Shea Show. You know the political commentator? He's got his own network and podcast. He does his stuff mostly on the internet. You can see some of his stuff on Z-Chirp. It's a social media site of comment sections, like you can go and just make a comment or anyway. I am here because I read on an older article that you had an interview about your son being a member of the Monkey King group.
Yeah, so what?
Well, I want to get in contact with your son.
Why?
I want to report on the Monkey King. Do you know where he is or where the group is?
Do you think if I knew where he was, I'd be in my house right now? I would be down there right now dragging him out of there. I wouldn't just sit here and let him become an extremist, a terrorist. He was a good kid, a smart kid, big potential. And now, since yesterday, I'm waiting to hear if my son burnt himself alive. So, no, I don't know where he is. I hate that group and I hate what this country has become, that it created a group like that. So no, I don't know where he is. I'm done with it all. And now you want to come here and make some money off my grief. Fuck you.
The woman slammed the door. As the students were quickly leaving the classroom, Alex weaved his way towards Miss Blosky's desk.
Hey, Miss Blosky. I just want to let you know I might have to leave class early tomorrow for work. So if there's anything that you're covering tomorrow that you could let me know and I can get on it.
For sure, thanks for letting me know. I have some worksheets, it's around here somewhere.
By the way, what's with Jordan? He's quite loud, I noticed.
Oh yeah, I don't know. He's a handful to deal with, but his parents are even worse.
What do you mean?
Well, I tell his parents about his behavior, but they just end up giving it to me.
Why?
Well, they do quite well for themselves. I think his dad is a developer and has a lot of money, so Jordan doesn't have to worry about failing in school or anything. He's going to be fine with or without a degree. With that much money, there really isn't anything to worry about at all.
Huh.
Alex couldn't decide what he made of Jordan's behavior. He had nothing against him. He barely knew him. But there was something about his carefree attitude that bothered him.
Well, I'll see you tomorrow, Miss Blosky.
Jimmy assembled his friends on a video call. Some of the most influential, wealthiest, and powerful citizens that spanned all industries were taking part.
Hey everybody, thanks for showing up. I'm sorry for interrupting your busy schedules, which is how you know this is an important issue.
No problem, Jim.
Thanks. Okay, so I'm sure you all know about the events that took place outside the Capitol yesterday morning, but I feel obligated that these events that took place should regard some attention from people in higher positions such as ourselves.
Jim, don't worry. We're getting the FBI to investigate these savages.
Once we find their compound, the SWAT teams are going to end these guys once and for all.
Well, I actually think we should maybe try to do something a little more diplomatic, like listen to some of their demands or at least make some compromises.
There was a long silence.
Jimmy, you actually want to negotiate with these people?
No, we don't have to negotiate, but maybe we can use our influence to try and implement a change in the system. That way, we won't have to worry about this escalating any further.
Who cares if it escalates further? It just shows that our plans worked really good.
Too good.
What plans? What are you talking about?
Jim, you're new to this game. We've played this game for many, many years. In 2008, we had one of the most tumultuous times in America history, the financial crisis. It was during an election year. We needed the next U.S. president to bail out Wall Street. We all gathered in a meeting such as this, and we made a list of the cabinet member that'll be in the administration. We gave these over to Citigroup, and Citigroup gave it to the president, who then picked accordingly and bailed us out.
It was great, but then those fags at WikiLeaks leaked that information.
Okay, yeah, I know all that. Everybody knows that.
Right. But then remember the backlash, the protests. Hundreds of thousands protested, saying they're going to occupy Wall Street, Tea Party movements. Everybody was waking up. We had to do something, but rather than finding a solution to their problems or listen to their demands, we got the media to create problems out of thin air.
What do you mean?
Oh, I don't know. Can men be women? Can women be men? Can men with no dick legally beat the shit out of a woman in an MMA match? Why is there so much homophobia, racists, and bigotry in the world today?
Distraction.
All this woke bullshit, controversies, decisive topics are nothing more than just a distraction. When the cat and dog fight, the mouse survives.
So we don't need to fix the system, we just need another distraction.
But they're awake again, and I don't think they'll fall for it this time. More and more middle-class people are being homeless. They can't pay for food and are now resorting to crime. I'm talking the drug dealing, looting, muggings. It's gotten so bad that the small businesses are closing up because of the crime, and now the economy is hurting.
Well, we aren't hurting. As far as I know, the more small businesses close up, it's good for us.
Here's the thing, though. When those finance protests took place, why did they take place? We never had these protests about wealth gap and criticisms of America's financial system before. Why did it happen then? Because the people were losing money. Their living conditions were worse, inflation worse, medicine worse, health worse. Everything was getting worse for everybody. However, you guys were playing the same games with the same rules and nobody batted an eye, but when those fucking towers fell and Cheney sent the whole ship towards the Middle East, it all went to hell. We spend They spend $300 billion a day for those wars, and now they are seeing the repercussions of that. The citizens pay the consequences of our government's mistakes and for ours. And what do they get in return? An eviction notice. Pretty soon, they are going to have enough, and it won't be themselves they'll be burning. It will be you. It'll be your friends in Washington. This is how revolutions begin, and we have to stop it. You might not like hearing this, but the power isn't in our hands anymore.
Jimmy, if you really want to make changes to the system, getting us on your side won't change much. The power that we have is lava trickled down from a giant volcano that contains more power than any of us are capable of. You're on your own on this one.
Jimmy's mind was a battlefield of frustration and determination. He had spent years cultivating these connections, surrounding himself with the kind of people who could shift markets with a phone call. Yet here he was, talking, persuading, pleading, and still nothing. His government-connected friend sat on the other end of the call, unmoved, tangled in bureaucracy, excuses, or perhaps just unwillingness. A flicker of doubt gnawed at him. Had he miscalculated? Was influence really this fragile, or was he simply not as powerful as he thought? The idea unsettled him. He had always believed that money opened doors, but now he was watching one remain stubbornly shut, no matter how much weight he threw against it. Sweat dripped down Alex's neck as he adjusted his hard hat. The midday sun beating down on the construction site was overbearing.
Alex, can I see you for a second?
Yeah, sure.
Hey, listen, you know I love your effort. You come here from school, you bust ass, you don't complain, and you get the job done.
Thank you.
Yeah. Unfortunately, though, the business isn't doing well, and we're going to have to let you go.
What?
Sorry, Alex.
Jerry, why would you give me all this praise and then just can my ass right after?
It's just the way it is, Alex. These men here have families, kids that are barely a year old. I have to get rid of somebody, and it has to be you. I'm sorry.
Okay, I definitely take back my thanks after you gave me all the praise. Shit, I thought you were going to give me a promotion, and now you're telling me I'm getting the opposite? To hell with you, Jerry.
Jerry didn't respond back. He didn't even look angry. Alex could see that he was truly sorry.
Listen, I'm sorry. I understand that you have to do this. It's just this goddamn world. I can only take so much of this. I can only get beat down so many times.
You'll get used to it, kid. Eventually, you'll get so used to taking it that you don't even feel it anymore. The more you accept it, the healthier it'll be for you.
Alex looked at Jerry almost disgusted by what he said.
Hello, sir. Sir.
Megan was tired. She was scattering all over the city looking for anybody to help her.
Hi, sir. I'm a reporter. I'm just looking to see if you know anybody in the Monkey King.
Fuck off, lady.
Okay, well, that's kind of rude. Hey, excuse me. Do you know where I might find where the Monkey King group is?
No, sorry, why?
I'm a reporter. I want to do a story on them.
Well, finding them will be pretty hard. It's more likely they'll come to you. Is there any big event coming up?
Why?
The Monkey King like to let their presence be known in big events, especially symbolic or political ones. If you wait around, you might see them.
Alex climbed the steps of his broken-down apartment building, dreading to break the news to his mother of his termination.
Hey, Mom, I have to tell you something.
Alex's mom was sitting on the couch in silence, visibly distraught.
Mom, is everything okay?
They're raising our rent, Alex. It's double now. We can't afford it. The landlord is giving us a month to find a new place.
How can we find a new place? This is the cheapest apartment in the city.
I don't know.
I'm going to talk to the landlord.
Alex, there's nothing you can do. You see, he's in a situation not so different from us. Everything is getting expensive, and there is simply not enough money for anybody to live up to it. Do you think it's really possible to convince someone to not eat food when he is starving?
God damn it. I'm sorry, Mom.
Hopefully your news is better than mine.
Hey, Nick, where's Megan?
She said she just got a tip for a very juicy story, but she gave me her new report on the fire protests.
Nick handed the report to Bill. Bill licked his finger and started skimming through the report.
Okay, good. I want you to call her and tell her that she has to talk to me first, before doing anything else.
Bill then turned his attention to the rest of the office.
And that goes for all of you. You don't report or investigate anything without my permission. You don't ask for testimonies, you don't make phone calls, you don't browse the internet or books. Fuck it. You're not allowed to take a goddamn piss without my authorization. Got it? Good.
Bill made his way back to his office with Nick closely falling behind.
Hey, Bill, I don't know if I can get in contact with Meg. She seems quite certain she's about to break something big here, and you'll be the first to report about it. This can make you huge. You go on all the big platforms, talk shows, podcasts because of stories like this.
I'm already huge. Nick, let me tell you something. I don't go on other people's shows, they go on my show, okay? My show is one of the biggest not only in the country, but in the goddamn world. So do what I say, okay?
Okay.
Bill turned his attention to another employee behind Nick.
What do you want? I need to go take a piss. Can I go? Get the hell out of here, smartass.
Hey, Bill, is it okay if I fuck my wife tonight, or do I have to jerk off in a sock instead?
You're gonna be jerking men off in the back alleys to pay your mortgage if you keep that up. You got that, Eddie Murphy?
Alex was sitting in class. Miss Blosky was teaching, but Alex didn't care. What's the point? He's going to be homeless in less than a month anyway.
And that is why the denominator is to the... Jordan, smarten up.
Sorry, I was just so bored.
Jordan, it doesn't matter if you're bored, it's important that you listen.
Alex had enough. He got up from his desk and marched over to Jordan.
Can I help you?
Alex?
Alex stared directly in Jordan's face, and before he knew it, he was on top of Jordan, throwing punches in his face. The class was screaming. Miss Blosky was trying to pull Alex off.
Alex!
Alex paid no attention to her. He couldn't stop himself from delivering as much pain as possible in his classmate's direction. He finally stopped and looked down at Jordan's bloody face. He could hardly recognize him from the amount of blood and damage that he did. Alex took a step back and breathed deeply. For the first time in what seemed like forever, he felt control over his life.